I'm so excited to have you guys on with our masterclass for April. I cannot believe it's April already. The year is just flying by. But I'm so happy so many detailers are joining us, and they also get the other title as a clicker too. So detailers and clickers. And so I'm Ellie LaFever. Welcome to the
Hi there.
Masterclass. And then we have Lori Wilson of
Hello.
Flower Clique fame. I'm so thrilled to introduce you guys to our audience. And I know that everybody can vouch for you guys as far as what you're bringing to the industry. Would you mind giving us a little background on what exactly Flower Clique is and how you came up with that idea and that name, which is so great, I think? Because we always want to be part of a clique, right? Even in high school. And so I'm like, here it is, the Flower Clique. So
Yeah, the name took quite a bit of time. It was like writing down like 100 names and trying to, see what sounded right. But in a nutshell, we are a service-based membership for e-commerce growth. So what we offer is basically just a better way to take control of your e-commerce and your website and really optimize and be able to scale. So we have about 12 different platforms that we work with. So whether you're a Teleflora or Shopify or FloraNext, etc., we have partnerships with each of these platforms that allow us to seamlessly work together to just fully manage your website. We do a ton of product development where we do, new photo shoots with products. But we have kind of a simplified view on using a limited number of flowers and containers so that you're able to really control your cost of goods sold and things like that. Our founder Vonda is the profit queen, so she always is top of mind with making sure that you're profitable and to keep running successful business year after year. So that's kind of it. I mean, it's an all-inclusive membership. There's a lot of big things and small things that are covered. Obviously we manage your website, but then we'll do Facebook posts, we'll manage your Google listings so that if you have different seasonal hours, things like that. So lots of big, lots of small. Lori, what did I miss?
Well, I mean, you didn't miss anything, but Ellie and I both, every time we see this question when I'm like, it's the hardest question because there's not just like we are this. So the best way I can describe it to people is through like a scenario. Many times what will happen is I'll get a Calendly notification that someone's scheduled on my calendar, and that means they've been perusing on the Flower Clique website, trying to figure out what is this. I know, Corrine, you get these probably too, your staff does. And so I get really excited because my first thought is these people have a need or they wouldn't be looking. And so my job is to have that conversation with them and basically say, why'd you reach out to me? What are your pain points? We're learning, being in this industry for a while, there's a few new pain points here and there, especially during pandemic, but for the most part, I usually get one of 3 pain points. The main one is frustration with their website. They have other shops near them that look exactly, we'll just pretend they're all FloraNext. They all have the same web host. Nothing wrong with FloraNext, but they all have the same stuff. They don't like the pricing, whatever. And that's a huge, I would say 98% of what Flower Clique does. We come in and we help those shops, typically those people, they don't like messing with their website, right? They're creative, they're design, this. I mean, they're designers, they're people. They want to be out front and talking. They don't want to mess with the website stuff. And so they leave it to us. Our web team, I can't say enough about them. I mean, the Flower Clique people here, I would give any one of our members or use any one of them as a reference to somebody to let them share about what our web team does, how we fill that void, and they have complete trust in us so that we can make them shine, and we set them apart, right? And so now your website is completely set apart from every other shop that has your same platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I feel like we deal with a lot of the same type of customers, but I feel like we more deal with even boutique people who might not have an e-commerce website at all. So we love when, you know, even though this isn't like a product that we offer, we love to steer them in a direction. Well, here's who can help you if you organize your business.
Yeah.
And I feel like they should be maximizing on that, especially if, you know, they want to do more than just weddings and events. So do you help in like, gosh, that is so interesting for you to break down and do the profitability of like different recipes that they should feature.
And item, every single, our library of images, what, Ellie, is 750 or more. Well, we just didn't.
Yeah, it's like 800 maybe regular everyday images. But then we have a full sympathy collection as well that has like 300 items.
Right.
But yeah. So
every recipe, Vonda manually, by just she and her brain, price out, they list, they price out, and then give you, you know, here's what you should be selling it at, here's, and she's never wrong about it. That's what's pretty amazing. We do have shops that are really scared to raise. I mean, when I'm talking to them, they're very, my customers wouldn't buy if I ever raised my price, and they haven't raised them in 2 years. And we all know your bills have raised, like, you know, so you have to keep up. And so we kind of helped them walk through that part with them, because it is scary.
As well as, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, when someone starts with our software, we usually start them at like a 300% profit margin on top of their costs.
Yes.
Which is cost times 4. But so many people are not doing that. And it's like a big eye opener. So if you're doing weddings and special events, you should definitely be watching your margins. If you're fully into retail, you really need to make sure you're doing that right, because you're hurting kind of your entire area if you're undercharging.
Exactly. And Vonda has said from day one, I mean, this was her whole mindset behind creating this company, was we have to work smarter and not harder. If you raise your prices, and instead of 20 web orders a week, you get 15, you're going to make more money and not have to dealt with so much labor. So it's that mind switch, that mindset shift that is the hardest thing. And it's such a beautiful thing to see, like 3 months into one of our memberships or 6 months, when they're like, oh my gosh, I get it now. Like this is
like people are actually willing to pay. You don't know until you offer it.
So you could help them if they were like using an FTD storefront or any of the brands. Like your team can basically log in and like redesign this. So I imagine you have a process of maybe a consultation with that company.
Yeah. So well, for a member or for a new lead, it starts with a discovery call to kind of get to know you, and then from there, what I've been doing lately is actually creating proposals for how we can help and what their new website could look like, and kind of hitting on their pain points, and because there is so much that we offer. And so to cut down on that overwhelm, it's like, here are the 3 main things you need. You want sympathy books, you want to partner with your local funeral homes and really start growing your sympathy sales. Okay, we have all the tools for that. Here's your website. Here's how we can help on your FTD site. We're going to reprice things so that you're actually making money. We're going to add in Flower Clique images. You have some custom images that you want. Okay, we'll sprinkle those in. So it's very like personalized for each person. It's not a onboard, same onboard for everybody. But also the other thing I think that our unique position is that we're very neutral towards all the web platforms. So if a lot of people lately have been coming to us like, I don't know which one to choose. I don't know where to start. And depending on their finances, how many, if they have web orders or not yet, there's so many factors. And Cami, our director of e-commerce, is so great about helping you find like the right solution to start with, even if you don't have, if you don't have that starting point. So yeah, it's but then you also asked, how did we start, or how did it come to be? So Vonda, the founder, and my mother, same last name, she started in the industry when she was 14. She started her own shop in her mid-20s and had a successful retail business, basically that she started from scratch till I was about out of high school. And it was at that point she, as e-commerce became a bigger part of our business, right, from going to the 90s into early 2000s and then even to now, it's changed so much. And she really saw that there was a way to help people who maybe didn't want to devote their energy to their website or things like that. You don't want to miss out on those sales. And so, that's when we started designing all these different tools to help florists, help you be more successful and really keep up with the ever-changing digital landscape.
I remember having a conversation with Ellie and Vonda at the very, very beginning. And what I walked away with that made me think it's absolutely the right thing to do. Vonda's whole concept was, not every great designer is a great business person. And on the flip side, not every great business owner knows to design and how to do flowers, right? I mean, it is a whole life of its own. And that was kind of the starting point. Like, there is a company that we can create to help both of those categories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have, and we continue to do it. We still learn too. And it's just, I don't know. I just wanted to.
Well, and I feel like it's such a, we tackle this all the time when we're onboarding our new florists. I mean, it's a lot of things to understand how to use a software, but it's also, something that is kind of a nuisance as far as your website goes. Like, you don't want to spend all that. So a lot of times some of these entrepreneurs are maybe a 1 or 2 man team. And so they don't often want to spend that time. So it's really great that you can offboard, I guess, some of those maybe more things that they might neglect sometimes. And then you guys are such experts in it, it probably doesn't take you as long as it would take them to learn something. So we've even found that with some of our florists are hiring proposal writers because that is a job that they just don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And that's not really something Details can tackle here, just for other reasons. But I think it's like a great business when you can go to someone and get a great consultative service, business better. So
we're big fans of delegating, outsourcing what are not your gifts.
Yeah,
you can stay in your wheelhouse because that's where you shine, right? And that's how you grow your business best.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I really am. Is that. And so it's nice to see that we have so many crossover clients, because during the pandemic, especially, a lot of our more studio boutique florists had to move into that retail so they could do those retail events. And so it was really lovely to see some of them open storefronts for the very first time. So I imagine they're probably utilizing your service. Did you find that COVID was a big boost to your business numbers?
Well, funny enough, we officially launched in January of 2020.
Okay, so right.
So, we had a lot of onboarding with members, and then basically once the world was on fire, we just stopped selling into anybody. So, we did not advertise, we didn't do anything, and we just really focused on our people. Every day was a new day, obviously. So it was, what can we do today to help? So, but I think it helped because, I mean, I believe obviously in like slow, sustainable growth. And I think the pandemic really allowed us to focus on that, on building out Flower Clique really in depth, right? And taking care of our people. So, but there was a lot of people that we were able to help that transition. They were, you know, all their weddings and events were canceled and they had to do something. So we really did have a lot of good conversations and members that we are still able to help in that space.
There's florists that use your services that have multiple sites, whether it be a FloraNext account or FTD site or
yeah. I think we do have some that are like a Teleflora or an FTD but we also have a lot of shops that have like multiple locations, right? So then we manage all of their sites. They might have 6 websites. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really it's a different, you know, obviously we do one thing and we're so focused in this one area, but I know that this is a huge pain point for our florists because they call asking us for recommendations all the time when they're looking for a POS. So you really try to stay neutral in those areas, or do you see if
we do? I mean, there's pros and cons, and going back to what Ellie said, I think all of our conversations, the first depends on the shop's budget and what they're wanting.
How many features?
Are they wanting to just be 100% hands off, or are they maybe have a few control issues and they want to be way more hands on? That's fine. All of these factors contribute to what our web team is going to recommend for them. The wonderful thing is the platforms that Ellie mentioned about earlier, we do have good relationships with all of those companies, a mutual respect. And so we love being able to recommend them, and they recommend us.
I can imagine that they really appreciate you because you're kind of like a super user of their software. So you can, and you make them look good, and then they don't.
That's exactly what they say
for you to do it. So it's kind of like, maybe you should look into that.
Conversion rate, they're like,
yeah, especially the ones that make a dollar amount on each order, you know, when our members are doing more orders every month.
Yeah,
you know, you start to.
Definitely something to think about. So do you service internationally, or are you working primarily in the United States?
Primarily in the United States. We do have some Canadian clients.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
we also have one in Hawaii, which is US, and we keep thinking we need to go and do a face-to-face. He always invites us.
I think we have Alaska too.
You have Alaska,
and
Canada. If you're not like me, we need to plan like a peony excursion to Alaska.
Exactly. Oh, can you imagine?
It's like a business trip. People can learn about details from a different
exactly.
Great idea. A Flower Clique class too. So, do you cater to only florists, or do you help out in some other industry?
Just florists.
I like it.
That's my answer to you, Corrine. There's no time. Like,
right? All these people getting into the catering business.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? No, focus. Yeah. That's good. So how your membership, do they pay a monthly fee, or do they just pay a one-time setup fee? What does that look like?
No setup fees. I think maybe like one of the platforms has a setup fee for the images, but that's manually. Fortunately, we don't. And then it's just a month to month, no contract. Depending on, we have a couple different levels of payment options, but just a monthly membership, and basically they get everything.
That's awesome. I've run into you guys and mostly over the last couple of years, so we kept bumping into each other, and we do love to go and support the industry. I think we've traveled to so many different places, but I feel like it's the best way to really get in touch and meet people and understand their pain points. But I'm like, oh, look at their cool swag they have. They have.
Well, I'm laughing. Look what I still use. It's my favorite thing.
Yay! I know. I know. Well, it's like, I got to get
There you
some
go.
good swag. I know Flower Clique girls are going to have something wonderful, but
Don't remind me. I got to work on that for next gen.
That's all
Got a
Ellie's
lot to
job.
do.
Yep.
but we do love when we see people, because I know a lot of times we'll go to events and expect to see a lot of representation from like really the larger companies, and I'm always surprised that it's always the smaller, younger companies that are really out there hustling to make their voices heard. But I think it's really impactful to the members or the people at these different organizations, because you see who shows up, and it's like it's nice to see people putting back into the industry, right?
Well, and I think
Completely agree.
I think you and I talked about this at the one in San Marcos. Even for me, I love to meet face to face, not only with the other vendors, but with flower shop owners or just employees, and get to know them. And that's how Ellie and I get inspired, and we come back and we're like, okay, it's interesting. I had some really good, interesting conversations about some new pain points that I never really thought. And that's how I learn.
And I think, and the advantage of being a small team that does it all is like we are able to pivot. I know that was the word in 2020, but like we're able to iterate fast. We don't need corporate approval to make something happen quickly. And I think, you know, our members really like it when we can turn something around that they need in a quick manner. So yeah, we are constantly inspired by our florists.
Yeah, and it's been fun to, you know, connect with you. I guess we did SAF together, and also Next Gen, which I feel like is, I remember walking through those huge hangars of all the flowers as they're pouring in from South America. And you guys were just so tickled when you saw actually some Flower Clique boxes on the line. So that is actually a dream for me, to see my logo in on a box inside of it, right? So can you explain that process, and like how did you make that happen?
Okay, so with going back to our product development, you know, limited number of containers, limited number of flowers. With that, what is the other complaint that customers have? It doesn't look like the picture. So when you have 100 images on your website and somebody picks that one that has hot pink Gerber daisies and that's the star of it, and then they don't get that, they're very unhappy. So to have your cooler match your website is very important. And so to kind of bridge that gap, we've partnered with a farm in Colombia and developed our own Flower Clique. We call them bundles, but they're really just pre-made premium flowers. So like one bundle might make one design, and then you do two of those to make another design, and maybe a half of that bundle to make the smaller one. So it's just a cohesive blend between exactly what's on your website, it's exactly what's in your cooler. So our farm ships, the farm that we partner with ships directly to the florist's doors or through, you know, Armelini channels as well. But yeah, so those are the Flower Clique boxes, our hot pink boxes. They're just for our members, so only member exclusive, so that, you know, it's just kind of a tool for them to be able to use to match their website.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. I mean, why would you bring in all this spec on all this product that isn't something that your most popular designs will be in?
And a lot of them use them, like, you know, at the holidays, right? When you have maybe seasonal help, or it's just quicker fulfillment.
Yeah. Another use that we didn't even think of was some of the, like we have our shop, one of our shops in Vegas and a couple in the Pennsylvania area. They just order so many of them, and they use a lot of them. Just they'll break them apart, and that's the design of the week or the special
designer's choice,
and designer's choice. And
or for like micro weddings, smaller weddings, we have like a couple of all white bouquets that are like perfect for that. They're profitable. I mean, there's a lot with that.
That's really great. Maybe we can see about getting some of those recipes as Flower Clique designs on our details, so that people or maybe
I
some
do have
members.
to say the first time one of our members received the box that Ellie worked so hard. My gosh, the amount of labor in designing a box, I never knew until I met Ellie LaFever. But I'll never forget, they posted on our members only Facebook page with the boxes, and they were telling me, we cried, like we couldn't believe it was such a real, and so it was a really cool moment that I will never forget. It's like, wow, we're on a box.
I know. Well, and that's so funny. What it's typical for women, right? Always cry.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're just, what an achievement. We worked so hard to get the box.
Yeah, I feel like you've created a really nice representation. I feel like it's almost like a family of everyone that's a part of your group. And I feel the same way about our members. So, and I've seen Samantha over there too, who's it's been fun. I feel like she's part of my family. I think she looks like my cousin. I've told her that. But I met her years ago at a convention. So it's just so great to see, people's faces connecting with our flower family. So I feel like you guys are now part of my extended flower family. I was on your podcast recently, and I always enjoy doing that because I think I learned a lot about myself, and I like to be put on the spot. It's like, oh, I'm scared. It's like live. What am I going to say? But how did when did the podcast start? Because I feel like there's not too many flower exclusive podcasts out there. So I feel like you're filling a very, space that is not all that frequent.
So that was just a wonderful accident, I think, is how I got involved. I remember Vonda talking about it a few years actually prior to starting Flower Clique, and she was kind of toying with the idea of, like, there needs to be a podcast about this industry, because we were both pretty into podcasts, and we couldn't.
Yeah, it was like her dream. It was like
her dream, and so part of, I guess, me moving over to Flower Clique for this exciting adventure, which I, didn't think twice about doing. She was like, I want us to do a podcast. And I was like, well, what, and she kind of explained it. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm in just because I'll do anything, but we couldn't decide on what to name it. And we talked through it, and we were all in Florida, and Ellie was there too. And we were talking through it, and somehow we landed on, because Vonda is always like, I want them to know how they can be profitable. Like, it's so important. There's so many little tips and tricks that I can help, and just so business. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know any of that, but I do know this would be fun. What if we, anyway, the whole conversation, she was business, and clearly every idea I was bringing to the table was more humorous or about leadership or relationship,
just lighter,
or whatever. And so I think it was actually Ellie was like, business and pleasure. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. It's the business and pleasure of flowers.
That's it. Yeah, it's a great combination, and that's what we're all like here for, right? Is having business and pleasure,
the human side of this industry.
Work hard and have fun.
No, that's really, you've had on, how many episodes have you done since you launched the podcast? And people can go back and listen to past ones.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the day we started our company was kind of like the same week that the first episode aired in 2020. So, and every Tuesday they've done one. They have not missed a week.
Wow.
Vonda's a stickler for, she does the concept of it. We didn't want it more than 30 minutes. Because she and I both would talk about how we love podcasts, but we never quite finished one because we had to get out of the car, or, you have to do things. And so she's like, I want it to be, if I'm running my flower shop and I have to go do a couple of quick deliveries, I want to be able to listen to it and get back to the shop and not think, I never finished that one. And so that was, and it's kind of become a joke, because Ellie and I are like, it's okay if it goes past 30. She's like, no.
Yeah. People are long-winded, come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot to talk about sometimes.
Yeah. So it's kind of, we try to do that balance, and it's just kind of humorous. But most people tell us they love that it's a quick one.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's so much that as florists or entrepreneurs are just always looking for that extra nugget of knowledge that they
Mhm.
can apply. And not everything resonates, but it might be a big change that you can implement or make a
Sure.
small step to make some big
Yeah.
changes. And then when you have the fun comedic side, I
Yes.
mean, we
Yes.
all have that. A good sidekick is
Yeah.
always
Yeah. My only goal in it is to make her laugh. And when she starts laughing and like can't recover, my job is I did what I'm supposed to do.
And I've enjoyed some of your presentations over the last year. I feel like this has been your circuit, and I
Yeah.
feel like everyone walked away from all of these sessions. So if anybody's listening and they haven't been to an SAF event or like a next gen event, or even some of the conventions that offer these
Right.
courses and classes, it really helps break down. And you did one that was more on like getting along with your office staff, which I thought was
Yeah.
everybody on my team really enjoyed it. So
Yeah. 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 So
Yeah,
Ellie and
that
I
was really fun.
we did one on the whole leadership thing at Next Gen, and then Vonda and I've done the Profit Blast, talking about, the concept again came about from me having conversation with our members. We have some online prep courses, some are design specific, some are onboarding a new employee to do customer service. And so I have this wonderful opportunity to not only talk with the owners or the managers, but I get to talk to employees that are
Right.
going through it sometimes. And so I started getting feedback from each side going, and it hit me, there's such a disconnect here. And so we did the thing that one of the Profit Blasts I think you're referring to is, it was, what from a business owner, what I wish my team really knew about my job. And then I did it from the standpoint of an employee going, what I really wish my boss understood about my job. And so Vonda and I kind of took sides, and we ended up, I think we never like to repeat what we do. We've been asked to do that same thing 3 times now. Because it is powerful, and you want to be.
People have like come up to you crying, like,
Yes, I have had to.
it's kind of like a therapy session.
It
Yeah,
really was. And I think
Yeah.
that's so important, because I don't think that we take the time to break that down necessarily.
yeah.
And it's really a difficult conversation, I think, to have one-on-one.
It
So
is.
almost better if you can bring someone in and start these conversations.
Yes.
Yeah, a buffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I cannot tell you a day. I mean, I may have a day, Ellie, we might have a day where we're like, God, this day is so jam-packed. But I have never had, since being in this industry from 2012 to now, I've never had a day where I'm like, I just want to get my paycheck. I just want to go. Like, never. And I think it's because I'm all over the place. Like, I have 25 tabs open in my brain at all times. And our industry is constantly evolving and changing. And so I thrive in that.
Yeah. Well, I think it creates some clarity when there is so much chaos, and especially if you can bounce off things. So, I really would love for our members to have that kind of access or those relationships.
Yes.
But I know that we don't know where to host that necessarily. So it's great when you can steer people in a direction, and there's so much content that they can absorb. But I feel like we're all just trying to be good stewards to the industry and help everybody be more profitable and happy, and keep the industry thriving. And I loved when you approached me. I think it was in San Marcos, asking about what we were doing with Stetson University.
Yes, that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's so cool, because I was a teacher. I'm a huge believer in anything education related. And so I was just so impressed. Like, you have an entire room at a college. That's
I feel like it goes down to all the conversations they had at Next Gen. So just pouring in to get other people excited about the industry. And I thought, well, how can I take that back and apply what I've learned in my own community? So I love to share that, but I feel like it all comes down to seeing companies like yours that are helping these businesses be successful, because at the end of the day, you're going to make happier customers and happier stewards of the industry and have more people kind of in touch with it. So
no, I agree. And again, like I was telling you, Ellie and I just came out of a member meeting, and the conversation was, a part of it was about, struggling finding good employees. And there is such an age gap in our industry right now. And it's actually kind of scary to me. And so the fact that you are partnering, doing what you can at a local university, and I know, like, I'm a hop, skip, and a jump from Texas A&M here, and they have an amazing program, but I'm like, we got to get the word out there to start building people's skills in this industry.
Well, and I think that comes down for you taking offloading some of that
Exactly
work for these florists, but they could be out there utilizing their own local communities too, to get processors or teaching their methodologies, or just finding ways to incorporate the youth of America into the floral industry. I think will only help our industry grow, and kind of showing the importance of and the health benefits of florals. And I think that in this, so everybody needs a leg up, right?
Yes, exactly.
So where can we find you next? What's next for Flower Clique, and where can we bump into you? We are wanting to.
Well, we'll be at Next Gen in June. We'll be at AIFD in July. We'll be at SAF National Convention in September.
Okay.
Profit Glass. I think maybe a couple state floral conventions, and then Vonda and I will be in Columbia at Proflora.
Oh, are you going to
October? Yeah, we're gonna go visit the farm and then go to Proflora. Are you going?
It's on, everyone says I should, but I've never been to South America before.
Me either.
So I'm a little nervous about it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I don't speak the language. So that's always like such a big concern, but I know so many growers are just so willing to handhold if you're
and they'll get security and all of that. But
I would really love to put a group together or do something if other people are wanting to go. What is your objective for going to that? To find
so we definitely want to visit the farm that we partner with, and then it's always been something my mom's wanted to do. Honestly, it's kind of just for us to get inspired and see the whole big picture of things. It seems like such a monumental event, symposium, culmination. So we just want to go.
And I have to mention this, as when we first started this call, they were talking about the Sophia Richie wedding, and I've not seen the pictures, and I'm like, I love gabbing with you guys. It's just, like, fill me in on all the stuff, but we'll have to
you have to look at it. It's so elegant.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed.
Just everything I saw, I thought 50 years from now, when they're showing their grandchildren, it's still going to be classic. It's still going to be stunning and timeless. So
that's the place. The south of France where this happened is kind of where I would want to go. Like, sorry, Flora. I would rather go. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So I have one last round of questions. It's a rapid fire. So I know you do this, but I would love, because this is part of something. Do you do this on all of your podcasts? Give a rapid fire.
Just every once in a while. Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is a fun thing. All right. So what is, and I don't know if you can answer this quickly, but what is one piece of advice a mentor gave you that you will never forget?
Looking outside of my industry. So like when I was in school for interior design, my professor said, don't look at interiors for your inspiration. Go out, look at something else. When you look at a different medium, you have a whole new perspective of how to translate it back to the content or the design or whatever you're creating within your specialty. And I think of that all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I try to do that.
It's simple, but it's just like clicked with me. So, Lori?
Mine is, it's actually something within the last 5 years that I think of every single day. And I've had Dr. Nicole Price, she's been on our podcast a couple of times. She's a dear friend of mine, she's a leadership and diversity training coach, PhD. And I asked her one time, how does one know if they're a leader? And she said, oh, that's so simple. You look behind and see if anyone's following.
Oh.
And I think about that every day. And everything I do in this industry is, if I looked behind doing this project, would anybody be going, oh, she's modeling well, she's doing the right thing? And so I try to live by that.
That's good. I like it. What is it that you love most about working in the floral industry?
I think, the people, how personal it is. It's so personal. Nobody's punching a clock. Everybody feels it like so deeply. And I feel like we all feel connected by a common string.
What's the best part of working for Flower Clique?
I love building things that don't exist and seeing them like come into real life. Like you can just make anything you want out of thin air, seemingly. At least for me, behind, similar to software, it's out of nothing that you build something and it can help people. So that's what I love.
Yeah,
I love learning something new that could help my flickers. And then I just absolutely can't wait to figure out how am I going to share this with them, because every one of them need to know this. Like, that's what.
Tell them your newest book that you just read that you're obsessed with.
Oh, I'm sure many people have it. And actually a lot of our members, it's called Unreasonable Hospitality. Have any of y'all read this?
I have not.
It's so good. Ellie's boyfriend actually got it too. And she's like, I haven't read it yet. He keeps hogging it.
Yeah.
Go back and highlight stuff. It's so good. My son who's 23 and he works in a very high-end restaurant. Like,
it applies to.
So it's good.
I think that's the kind of service I always gave whenever I was doing my weddings, was unreasonable.
Yeah.
It was like so over the top. I would be like friends with all my brides. I was like, I really gonna kill him in the end with this. Being too friendly, right? So what is your favorite flower?
Mine changes all the time, but actually after seeing Sophia's wedding, I was reminded back to my childhood, Lily of the Valley. We had tons of Lily of the Valley growing and I would pick it and it smells so good. And so that's my current obsession.
Yeah. Mine changes too, but I do always like the very first flower that pops in my head anytime I'm asked that is going to be just the peony. I mean, there's nothing, in my opinion, more beautiful. Ellie and I do have the exact same most disdained flower. So that is a common one.
What is it? Tell me. It's like
we're
can't really pull out the
everybody loves it. We just don't see why everybody loves it. Is the sunflower. I don't know why. And I'm learning to love it. But
I also hate Gerber daisies. I thought you were going to say Gerber daisies.
No,
I think it's not the Gerber daisy either. I always feel like they've got their own like personality.
Yeah, they're just like they're annoying.
Yeah, I'm like, I would rather have a big fluffy ranunculus, right, or something. Seen the ones from Rosa Prima though that are like this big, those ranunculus, like those are really nice.
Yeah.
What is becoming a big contender for me, and again, it's so simple, but a beautiful hydrangea. Just something about a white, fluffy hydrangea. It's just the most gorgeous flower.
I just want to have a house in Cape Cod or something that has those
in
the driveway, and I could just go out there and
yes, exactly.
I live in Florida, so we don't get any of that. The deer. Well, this has been really fun. Last question: if you could vacation anywhere in the world, where would you go, or where would you go twice? Ellie, I'll send that to you. No,
I mean, I'm dying to go to like Tokyo. I'm gonna go somewhere so different than where I've been. So definitely like Tokyo, Kyoto, place like that.
Yeah, really cool.
So my favorite place ever is Hawaii. I would go back. I would live there if my husband would agree to move there and we had $10 million. But my if I could go anywhere, it's not even necessarily the place. I want to go somewhere where the mornings I sit on a balcony and there's mountains and I have to probably wear a sweatshirt that will warm up in the afternoon, but I want just like this vast view, and maybe Lodgy or Nantucket. Any of those Hallmark movie scenarios, that's what I want. I don't even care where it is. It could be Iowa. I don't care. I just want that scene.
Yeah, I get it. You have to just step outside of like wherever your comfort zone is. And just,
Yes. Yeah.
we just went to California and I thought this is really similar to Florida, except for it doesn't have the humidity, which I loved because my hair was like so behaved. I just thought this is where I need to move, but very expensive to live there. So
there's always problems. There's always pros and cons to everywhere we want to live, right?
Yeah. And so you're in Texas, Ellie, where are you? And is your entire team remote or?
Everybody's remote. I'm currently traveling, so my stuff's in storage.
Okay.
I'm everywhere.
She's a nomad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Currently in the Midwest, but I'll be headed to Vegas this summer.
Wonderful. And she had spent, I feel like, in Italy. You were there for several
weeks. In Italy, yep. But I was in LA. That was like home for a while.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, lovely to spend the afternoon with you. Thank you guys for being here. And if you guys have any questions, I don't see any, but you can always connect with us, or we can forward those messages along. Or did you want to share maybe an email address for our members?
Yep, I just put it in the chat. Just hello at Flower Clique, CLIQUE. That goes to Lori, so she will.
I'll say hello back. Say hello.
No, that's awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, much appreciation. And I can't wait to see you the next time. I think it will be next gen. Maybe.
Yes, we'll both be there. So we're looking forward to it. I'm excited.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. All the iguanas, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Me too.
Yeah, there were tons of them. That was so funny. All right. Well, have a good afternoon. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.